stuff. It's amazing. Welcome to Big Brother's Little Brother. It's day 13, ladies and gentlemen. Unlucky for some, but has it been our housemates' lucky day? It's certainly their big day. These are the headlines. There's just been another security alert just outside the house in the compound. We'll be telling you about that in a minute. But the other big headline is Penny's already waning popularity with Amma has gone down further as she and Amma had a brief spat in the early hours of this morning over, of all things, hair. But our main story today is the climax of the first aid task. After 4 days of swatting, the guys have gambled 60% of their food budget, and 60% rests on the success, bearing in mind last week they only had £49 to spend. Now, the housemates knew they'd be tested, but they weren't expected to be woken up at 7:25 this morning by Big Brother. This is exactly what happened.
This is Big Brother. A meteor has crashed in the garden. You have 2 minutes to put on your microphones, get dressed, and gather in the kitchen.
What? Meteor? What's that?
Get dressed as in what? Clothes?
Oh, we've got 2 minutes and I'll try and run out if you ask questions about it. Come on. Chop chop, Tolly Dolly, wake up.
Trolley Dolly woke up. You see Brian's eye as well? He'll wake up like that. OK, so a meteor had hit and left 4 dummy casualties. We stressed there. Not real casualties, dummy casualties. In the back garden, the group had only 10 seconds to successfully treat them. This is how they did.
Say what you're doing, talk.
Hello, yeah, can I have an ambulance, please, as soon as possible? Yeah, and police, yes.
His hand's not supposed to be broken, is it?
Someone told Penny they were actually dummies, because Penny actually looked like they were real people, and she was like, oh, should have handed. Can I just confirm that, by the way, there was 10 minutes, not 10 seconds. That would be the hardest task on earth for everyone. OK, we were telling you how they got on in just a couple of minutes, but first we're joined by psychiatrist Dr. Sandra Scott. She's helped us here to get in the heads of the housemates. Looking at that very briefly, Sandra, welcome to Big Brother's Little Brother, by the way.
Thank you.
How do you think they cope with the shock?
I think all in all, they cope really well. Given the time of the morning, the fact that they're all pretty tired, I think they'd all jump to pretty quickly. And you'd almost think they've done this before. I was impressed by the sort of level of teamwork. They really seemed very coordinated. I think the only thing I was a bit surprised about was the fact that Dean seemed to take such a prominent role, really, rather than Brian. And I would have expected it to be Brian. Cool, excellent. OK, now you're going to be with us throughout the show to answer your questions on the whole Big Brother experience and to help us understand what and how they're actually thinking. For example, why does Brother wear hats? What are the signs of stress that the guys are showing? And who's already coming forward as a leader? So with that in mind, today's talking point is, don't hit me here, what does a shrink think? Thanks for that. Number to call as always, 0870 901 9070, 0870 901 9070, or littlebrother@e4.com. Littlebrother@e4.com. Over to Natalie in the gallery.
Just come forward a bit. So I just get my hair otherwise.
Hello, how are you? I'm in the lovely gallery with Aidan. Again, me and Aidan seem to be striking some kind of friendship. It's a platonic one, Aidan, before you start getting any ideas. So Aidan, can you tell us, we had a security alert today about an hour before the show started, about 6 o'clock. Can you tell us what happened?
We did. It was a newspaper that I'm not going to name.
No, because it's a really classy one.
It's a very classy newspaper, and they turned up with one sort of pimply journalist and a megaphone, and also a photographer.
Yeah.
And they were shouting slogans in support of Bubble over the fence.
Ah.
And fortunately, nobody actually heard, none of the contestants heard them. We got them into the house really quickly. And the security guys ran around the corner within about 20 seconds and apprehended the miscreants. And so problem solved, nobody heard anything.
Nice use of the word miscreants.
Thank you, bit of a rare one.
Every time I speak to you, Aidan, you come out with a new word that I actually quite like. But on Friday as well, apparently there's going to be a tank turning up. What's all this?
Well, we're not sure. There are rumours of a radio station maybe bringing a tank down. Obviously, it's not something we want to encourage necessarily.
No.
But we do have plans, and if they turn up, we have a way of dealing with it.
We need to get some of their F1 fighter jets.
Maybe our own little army, maybe a Big Brother army, if you want to enlist, you know.
I'd join up, as long as I can be fighter
What's the website address?
Yeah. You can sign up, come and help us. Any news as well from today? Anything else happened?
Today, obviously, a massive task event this morning, which I'm sure you've talked about already, but on a smaller scale, Bubble's hair. Bubble actually took his hat off today, which is news in itself, to get a new hairdo from, I think it was Dean, shaved his head, and initially he went for the George Cross, which was very nice, but he's now gone for a Beckham. So if he ever takes his hat off...
He's a Chelsea fan.
He is a Chelsea fan, not a Man United fan, but I think he just likes the hairdo.
Very bizarre. Well, thank you very much for that, Aidan. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you again. Back over to Dermot.
Here we go again. Yeah, I'm at the bar. The old wonky old Cheers bar, where everybody knows my name because I'm the only person here. All week we've been asking you to send in your lovely photographs of lookalikes of the housemates. Now, this is by far my favourite part of the show right now. It has to be said, though, that the standard so far has been absolutely bleep appalling. It's been woeful, for want of a better word. OK, come on, guys, get it together. Up for grabs is this wonderful calendar. Only 10 of these made until about Christmas time, and then it'll be swamped in various markets around Essex and Kent. But we can tell you, you can win one of these, only 1 of 10. Dean, for example, there, in another vain attempt to get a recording contract. God bless him. Bless him there. OK, so we've got 3 emails today we go through. First of all, we have an email from Peter Anslow, who said, attached to 2 photographs of my daughter's boyfriend, Gareth. We think he's a spitting image of Bubble. Here's Bubble. Here's Gareth. Lovely. How about that? That's Jiminy Cricket. That's not Bubble, that's Jiminy Cricket. OK, next up we've got, this is hysterical. Email from Helen Dugude. Apologies for the mispronunciation if there was one there. Here's a picture of me looking like, who else but the mad one? I can't say that. Elizabeth. I don't know whether she's I'd be proud of this or not, but a few people have said I'm kind of similar to her. So there's Elizabeth, and here's Helen. Wonderful. And last but not least, I don't think it's particularly funny, and I think it's quite self-indulgent, but I'm made to do it because I'm contractually obliged to. I think I should get a calendar because my friends think I look like Dermot. It's from Simon J. Wilson. Here's me. Here's Simon.
Yeah.
Shut up! Is that Dermot O'Leary the jockey or something? Keep them coming in. Big Brothers, Little Brother, Studio 1, 3 Mill Studios, 3 Mills Lane, London, E33DU, or email us at the usual address, littlebrother@e4.com. Right now, over to Nat.
Oh no, those aren't the noises of one of my favourite bedroom friends, but they're actually the noises of Paul, not Bubble, the other Paul, the noises that he makes in his sleep. Now, if you've been watching the E4 live streaming, you'll have seen him making all kinds of crazy noises. If you haven't been watching it, we've got a treat for all you kids out there. We're going to show you. So first off, here he is impersonating the cameras.
Zip.
Nice. Then he moved on to some kind of mumbling. Let's have a look at that.
Could I just, I don't want to sound bored by saying it, I think it might be pleased in the long run because I have worked with them and they're like that, but I don't think anyone should.
And then thankfully he moved on with the English language and he moved on to coherent sentences. Let's hear that one.
Just be prepared for saying you're not confident on, quite simply. Be really prepared. Because they're not bound to keep saying we don't want to.
So you never know, by tomorrow he might be spouting off something infinitely more intelligent like the whole of the Sweet Valley High books. You just never know. Now it's back over to Dermot.
Right, gang, thanks now. Talking point today. What does your shrink think? I'd like to be joined by Sandra. She's not getting bored of that at all, let me assure you at home. I invite your questions on getting into the heads of the housemates, what about their mental state since they've been in the house. We've already had a few emails, so let's get cracking. Hi. Do you think it was fair, in retrospect, to put Penny in the Big Brother house as her massive insecurities are plain to see? That's from Caroline Kendall.
Well, I guess I'm glad you put in retrospect, because ultimately Penny wasn't put into the house by anybody. She put herself there. She wanted her. If you looked at Penny's age, she's 33, she's a teacher, responsible job, she's religious, so seems to be, in a quite a supported position. So, she's not naturally the person you think is terribly insecure, but certainly she doesn't seem to have fared that well in the house. But I think that's also a large part to do with the fact of the way the other people are treating her. She's been scapegoated to quite a degree, and I think it could be a completely different situation if she'd been more supported.
Excellent. Okay, so from Brian in London. In what ways are the housemates misrepresenting themselves, although you've answered this to some degree with her, Penny, despite TV evidence to put in a positive image?
Well, I think all of them, naturally people try to put your best foot forward. You're not going to be coming out with all your worst habits. So I think it's completely reasonable they're all doing it. But I think to more fit in with that question, I think that Stuart and Elizabeth are maybe more than the others trying to create this very positive role in quite subtle ways, but then but you notice there's lots of asides and quite more negative comments made, which are really quite contrary to this image that they're trying to portray.
I call Stuart and Elizabeth the Bloomsbury set of Big Brother 2.
Sloanies.
The E.M. Forster and Virginia Woolf.
That's nice.
I would say I don't think that's unduly harsh.
Wow. Okay, I have to remain impartial. We have Norman from Alpherton on the line. Hello, Norman.
Hello there.
How you doing?
Fine, thanks. Are you?
Very well, thank you. What's your question for Sandra?
The housemates seem quite close now. How do you think they're going to react to Josh when he moves into the house?
Good question, Norman.
Yes, I do think it's interesting. But first of all, I would say I think they're quite close to mine as Penny. As I said, poor Penny being scapegoated has my sympathy. I think that the men and women may well react differently. I think that the men are more likely to view him as a challenge, particularly Stuart, because Stuart's really vying quite strongly for the paper. They have very similar qualities.
And Josh is quite strong as well.
Absolutely, both attractive, successful males. But I think the women have been playing quite a sexual agenda throughout, and I think quite basic. Maybe he may be seen as sort of potentially new meat. You asked what I thought.
Not for long, he won't. And do you think, I mean, he'll be under pressure himself, just very briefly, do you think he'll be under pressure himself in relation to that? Because they've had 2 weeks to bond.
Absolutely. You know, going into any new group is difficult because you don't know what all the unwritten codes are. He doesn't know what's happened before. You haven't seen the programme. So he's going to be feeling quite nervous, and I think he's going to probably go to great lengths to try to literally ingratiate himself, for want of a better word.
Excellent.
So it'll be interesting watching.
Thanks a lot, Sandra. Keep them coming in. 0870 9019 9070. The housemates are still in shock after being woken up at 7:25 today, only to find a whopping grate, and it says here whopping grate, big meteor in the backyard.
So whopping and great. But after the break, we'll be joined by Simon Casson. He's one of the judges in today's task. He'll be giving us his honest assessment of how the housemates performed and be telling us, most importantly, if they passed it.
Before that, let's have a look at another one of the 5,000 hopefuls who didn't make it out of the starting blocks.
Hello, my name's Dex. I'm cold, I'm hungry, I need a home. Living in a doghouse.
I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, I'm Big Brother.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. Here's the monitor. It's the meteor, not the monitor. The monitor's over there, and I'm looking at that too. It's slightly cooled down now from earlier on, and I'm getting out of here.
Oh, that's really funny.
Live streaming. Let's look at Dean right now, pumping iron. I want muscle. Hello, everybody.
Do you really?
Day 13, 297 hours in the Big Brother house.
Have you got that right? Nice.
I promise you.
I promise you I have. Latest news, the meteor task, of course, that does look like some great big pustule over there that you could get cream for. They had that this morning in the house. And also, breaking news from the gallery was that there's been a lot of security alerts and potentially a very big security alert on Friday, so watch out for that.
Okay, but the talking point today is, well, we want to know what the shrink thinks. It's kind of simple, right? Okay, give us a call, 0870 901 9070.
Yeah. What have we got next? Oh, I know what we've got. We've got a psychiatrist, Sandra Scott. She's here to answer your questions. Anything you want to know about what makes housemates tick and whatever they get up to.
Now, the housemates were surprised at 7:25 today as a meteor was in their garden and they had 4 casualties to treat. It's taken weeks of careful preparation. They had 10 minutes to sort it out. We're going to take you behind the scenes now at 7 o'clock this morning to see as the taskmaster and his team make the final preparations. At 7:03, the equipment goes into the garden. At 7:07, the meteor lands. 7:24, the housemates receive a rude awakening.
This is Big Brother. A meteor has crashed in the garden. You have 2 minutes to put on your microphones, get dressed and gather in the kitchen.
7:28, they survey the scene.
Questions?
62 breaths.
Arm straight, weight over thingy, and...
Okay, 1, 2, 3,
100
4,
to a minute.
5.
Opening the airways, breathing. I'm looking at the chest. I'm listening to him breathe, and also feeling the breath from the cheek.
At 7:38, the judges call a halt and start the marking. Right now, Simon Cass, Simon Cassine, a.k.a. Cass.
That's right, yeah.
Is a first aid expert and one of the judges. In fact, you came up with this task pretty much this morning, I hear. So why did you decide to test them in this way?
Because first aid's all about practical skills. Doesn't matter how much you read a book or learn from a book, it's about whether you can do it in a real life situation. That's why.
And how do you think they coped today in retrospect? Bearing in mind they had 4 days. To be fair, I've been watching it on live stream for the last 4 days and they've been, bless them, they've been cramming as much information into their minds as possible. I mean, how do you think they've done today?
I think they did really well. I think from watching the programme, they expected a theoretical test. And they were completely surprised.
they totally were, weren't they? Because like watching it, you know, this morning I hear like, and it was just in comparison to the fact that over the last couple of days, all they've been saying is, I think they'll test us on this, I think they'll test us on that. It's like I thought they were going to wake up this morning and expect like old school desks with inkwells to be there and so forth.
I think that's
I mean, how did you devise that? Why was it a meteor or something?
Well, the meteor was actually thought up by a member of the Big Brother staff. Just to test them practically was our idea, and then a combination of ideas came up with a meteor.
Nice one. Okay, so who coped best out of the group?
Best of all, I thought Dean remained calm throughout. I thought he was really good. Stuart was good. Bubble was good. He was moving from scenario to scenario, and he was offering good advice and then moving along. Same with Paul.
I love Bubble. I saw in the VT earlier on when Bubble just went up to go, all right, mate, you feeling all right? But we've got a little clip of Dean now and how he handled it. Let's take a look at that.
Yes, let's do it together then.
Sitting in the
So what you got to do is say,
G'day mate, you alright?
okay, you're going to be okay, don't worry.
I'll tell you what,
Fractures my right leg.
So you're going to have talking and breathing, so you can support his head.
Now you mentioned how well people cope, but who in your mind really took charge?
Well, I'd have to say Dean. Stuart was very, he showed a lot of authority as well. He calmed things down, he told them to be calm, and he went through it step by step. I thought he was very good.
See, I would have expected Stuart to take charge, but Dean sort of was almost like the wild card, really, wasn't he? Because, like I said earlier, I mean, when Dean speaks, he doesn't speak too much, but when he does, he speaks with quite force. Was there anyone who surprised you in how good they were? Because I know a lot of people felt nervous going into this task, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I thought Narinda and Brian worked really well together. It was almost a dance towards the end. They were really good, really coordinated, and they were willing each other on, offering a lot of support to each other. I thought they were great.
And what about Helen? Because Helen has been really nervous leading up to this. I mean, you know, I think she thought she was the weakest link, and from what you're going to tell me though, she actually did quite well, didn't she?
She did do well, because all the first aid skills that all the other housemates were using were worthless unless an ambush was on the way, and Helen thought of that and did it instantly.
Excellent stuff. And last but not least, most important question, did they pass?
Of course they did. They were brilliant.
They're going to be ecstatic about that, because I tell you what, mate, if they hadn't, you'd have to go in there and do some first aid yourself. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Cass. Over to Nat.
Now, as many of you know, I have a lot of hobbies, some of them involving nursing baby koalas back to health, and some of them involving wrestling llamas. But I actually have a big interest in food, so when we got an email of a certain special someone asking about food, I decided that I was going to answer it because I'm the one that knows. Meatballs and pasta, couldn't you just? So our email is off Keith Strachan, and Keith says, any chance you could tell the housemates, girls especially, to close their mouths when eating? It's so revolting. I've seen cows and pigs chewing grass and pig slops with better eating habits, and that's from Keith with a little kiss on the end. Well, just for you, Keith, we put together 3 of our magic masticating moments. So, number 3, we had Brian's bolognese. Get it in there, lad. There we go. Number 2, we had Amma's having a mouthful. It's very clever.
Is it really that late? Already?
But at number 1, oh yes, Big Boy Bubble takes a bite.
Anything you want to say about that?
I'm surprising.
Quite disgusting, isn't it?
I think that food is one of the few pleasurable activities they have in the house. And I guess the thing that really surprises me is that being so pleasurable, you think they'd want to get it all in their mouths. And with leaving them open like that, I think there's a grave danger. Most of it's going to end up on the table.
The one thing I would say about food is when I eat with people and people are very self-conscious, and I probably quite do this myself, is when you're eating, Quite often you cover your mouth when you're eating. What does that...
Well, I don't know. How do you eat?
I don't... Well,
I never feel the need.
And then, but a lot of that, do you know what I mean? Is that masking something?
I think that's very self-conscious. It's basically you're afraid you've got something in your teeth, or you're going to say something. But what actually strikes me with them is being as they can be quite contrived in most of the circumstances, is how relaxed they are when they come to eating. It's like they forget everything.
Yeah, I guess.
And like completely get into it. So I guess it's a positive thing.
Excellent stuff. Okay, we've got Kerry from Didcot on the line. Hello, Kerry.
Hello, Dermot.
How are you?
Hi,
All right.
everyone. Okay, thank you.
Ask away.
Right, with the overall view of things, sort of example, public perceptions and Big Brother's rules, etc., who do you think's playing the game correctly?
I wouldn't say there's a correct way to play the game, beyond the fact that I think the most important thing is to try to enjoy it as much as possible, not allow it to become too distressing, to remember that it is a game. And I think things like that, to try to behave sort of closest to your own personality rather than pretending to be somebody else.
So who do you think's doing that the best then?
I guess I would say Dean. I think that Dean seems to be the most natural. He doesn't seem to be pushed into modes of behaviour by others. For example, some of them have quite obviously been quite manipulated.
Yeah.
So
I think it's Brian.
Do you?
Yeah, I think he's just a sweetie.
I like Brian.
What do you think about Brian? Let me ask you that.
Yeah. He oozes personality. He's got tact. He's honest, and he's the best comic I've seen for ages. He's just he's a real sweetie without making you sick.
That was really nice.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye bye. Should have Laura on the line next. Hi, Laura.
Hello.
How you doing?
Laura. Hello. Hello.
What have you got to ask, Laura?
I keep watching that Bubble wears his hats every single day, and I wanted to ask Sandra, why do you think that is?
I think that Bubble is one of the people in the house I think is actually one of the most uncomfortable. And he still seems to be working very hard towards creating an image. And I think a lot of his sort of the joking, the hat, a lot of his mannerisms are all towards sort of trying to create a sort of camouflage image. I mean, that's what I think.
Happy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go forth and wear hats. Thank you, Laura.
May all your children wear
This is
hats.
Jim. I was wondering which of the housemates is most likely to crack under the stress of being in a house with 9 strangers.
Well, I think we already had the answer to that. Penny certainly seems to be faring the least well. And as I said, I think it's because she's been scapegoated by the group and treated quite badly. Really, the experience seems to be resonating with a lot of, insecurities in her life, and they're coming to the fore.
Okay. Do you think Brian and Elizabeth are really as naive as they make out, Kerry and Belfast?
No, I don't. It's a short answer.
Okay. I think it's probably be the last one. How's the conflict between Penny and Amma affecting them and the other housemates? Just affecting them?
How it's affecting them? Well, obviously it's affecting their relationship. They're not getting on at all. I think that Penny seems to tap into all of Amma's insecurities.
I'll just stop you there. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Tomorrow we see Penny and Helen's friends talking to us. See you then.
And you can catch Big Brother's Little Brother at the same time tomorrow, only on E4. Now, Sasha's planning a very special night in with a very lucky fella. As If is next.